Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to set up a Gibson Les Paul. So what we've got here is a Gibson Les Paul Classic 2014. A really nice guitar that I bought secondhand here in Iceland about a couple of months ago. And since I got it, I've been experimenting a little bit with the setup and the string gauges, etc. And I started out with 1046 strings because that is what I use for my struts. But that did not work out for me because the Gibson scale is shorter, so the string tension was way looser than on a Fender, for example. So in the end I went for 1148 strings, which are in my opinion the perfect strings, at least for my Gibson setup. Because what I want to achieve with my Gibson is I want to be able to shred, I want to be able to play fast, I want to be able to bend, but I also want to be able to use slide. And just a little bit about this guitar. This is the 120th anniversary edition of the Gibson Les Paul Classic, and you can see the inlay here on the 12th fret. Mahogany body, mahogany neck, maple top, and we've got rosewood fretboard, slim 60s neck profile and standard or traditional tuners, so this guitar does not have locking tuners. Other features would be the push-pull knobs here, or the pots that can split the humbuckers into single coils. I have to say that this is not really for me. I'm not a huge fan of those things, but since it's there, I might as well use it. It only has one tone control, and that one goes for both pickups. And then we've got this little switch here, which is a 15 dB boost. When you set up your guitar, it is extremely important that you do things in the right order. And that is what we're going to do here today. We're going to start with the truss rod and set up the neck relief. And once we've got that right, we're going to move on to the string height or the string action. Once that's done, we will have to check the intonation and see if the intonation needs any adjusting. And then at the end of the video, we're going to have a look at the string tension. But before you start adjusting the truss rod, it is very important to measure the current neck relief, and we do that by placing a capo here on the first fret. And we do that to hold the string down, and then we put our finger here on the last fret, low E string, hold it down, so now the E string is like a straight line, and we're going to measure the gap between the string and the 8th fret, and we measure that with these feeler gauges. My desired measure is 0.008 inches or 0.203 millimeters. So now when I put the feeler gauge here under the string on the 8th fret, I can see that the neck relief is pretty spot on, and this is probably because it's only been about 3 weeks since I last set this guitar up, and it just hasn't changed a lot since then. So it probably doesn't need a lot of adjusting on the truss rod. But let's say if I wanted to go a little bit more straight, less neck relief, I would go to the left. I would take a quarter turn to the left, tune up, measure again, and do that again and again and again until I get it right. And the same goes if the neck's too straight, if it's buzzing, etc., and you want more neck relief, you would go the opposite direction to the right, quarter turn, and then tune up, try again until you get it where you want it to be. So now that we've got the neck relief right, we need to move on to the string action or the string height, and we measure that here at the 12th fret, first at the low E string and then at the high E string. So the measures that I have seen people recommending is 2 millimeters on the low E string, so it should always be a little bit higher on the bass side, and 1.5 millimeters on the high E string. But from what I've just measured here, I have got 1.8 millimeters on the low E string, and then I've got 1.4 millimeters on the high E string. And this works great for me because it's a relatively low action, so I can actually shred, but I also want to be able to play with the slide. And I think this works because I've got these heavy or relatively heavy strings, 1148, which give me a little bit more of a string tension. And as for the adjustments, just do the same as you did with the truss rod. Just do small turns each side and tune up, play it a little bit, see how it goes, and you might have to do it again and just keep experimenting until you find the string action that you like. There is no one measure that fits for everyone. So now that we've got the neck relief and the string action set up properly, we just need to check the intonation, and we do that by playing a harmonic here on the low E string, at least to begin with, and then we try to match it with a fretted note on the low E string. As you can see, it is a little bit sharp. So what we need to do is just to use a screwdriver and lengthen the scale. So we just turn it clockwise, and then we tune up again. And it's much better now. So just do that to all 6 strings. You might need to do a couple of rounds, but pretty straightforward, pretty easy job to do. Just make sure you got a good tuner. The last thing I would like to talk about today is string tension, and we can adjust the string tension with this tail piece here. So for more tension, we lower the piece, and if we want less tension, we raise it. For example, I put these 11s on the guitar the other day, and in the beginning, I just found the tension too high, and I was not managing to play like I'm used to. I was struggling with the bends, etc. So I tried raising it a tiny bit, and it made a huge difference immediately. I kept raising it until I found a point where I was feeling quite comfortable. So definitely try that out. Just make sure not to use a screwdriver when the guitar is strung up, because you can easily cause some damage here. It is quite interesting how the angle can affect the tension on a string, and I just wanted to show you my Telecaster and what I've done here. I installed this G and B bender on it about a couple of months ago, and before I installed it, the G and B strings would go through the body at about a 90-degree angle towards the saddles, but now they are going back to the bender unit. And this was causing a little bit of buzzing because there was less string tension. As you can see, there's hardly any angle here. And the G string was particularly bad. The B string is pretty fine. So, and that is probably because there was already a string tree here on the E and B strings. So I tried installing a string tree on the G string, and that improved the situation right away. And it's much better now. I actually did a video where I showed you guys how I installed the G and B bender. So definitely check it out if you haven't already. And I'll see you there.